It's speech day.
Yeah. You said it?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I wish I could be there.
I'm not like crippling anxiety, but like I'm like a little intimidated because I'm going to be in a room full of like the most amazing women ever. And I went last year and it was like all these accomplished women.
Anyone could do it, you could do it.
I know. I'm not feeling it yet, but like I feel like right before I go up, anytime I do like a speech, like right before I go up, like anxiety, I get very nervous very fast. Even though like no one can ever tell how, every time I do like public speaking and I come down, everyone's like, oh, you didn't look nervous at all, but inside I'm like my heart's just pumping out of my chest.
Just think of coconut trees.
So I'm speaking at the Caribbean Women's Network event, and I have my speech here. I've been like practicing in the car. I'm gonna take you guys in with me. We're just about to pull up. Now my stomach is starting to turn.
Don't you wish we all could be there?
Yeah, it would be much easier if you guys were all there. Girl, trust me.
Ew.
Are you guys proud of your mama?
No.
What? Do it.
Better. I just be feeling cringe the whole time.
You would feel cringe. I said my speech for Aliana and Ali, and I was like, it's good, but it's like kind of cringe.
Girl, if I heard you say that in front of a whole room, I'd just die. I'd be like, oh, that's so cringe. I just die.
Because I'm talking about my feelings, and talking about my feelings is cringe now.
Nah, we're your biggest
Now?
fans.
Well, I mean to you, Miss Tween.
You've always been cringy.
I've always been cringe. Now I'm cringe. Just a couple of years ago, I was the coolest mom ever, but
No,
now,
you weren't.
I was. And you used to hold my hand.
Mom, stop!
You used to hold my hand everywhere I went. You used to love me.
Doobies,
Now
I just
I'm
when you were a
cringe.
Princess Peach. Go back to being little Doobies.
Now I'm cringe.
Doobs, I miss you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Love your speech.
Huh?
Your speech.
I have it in my purse.
It's right there, though.
I have it in my purse. Maybe I'll take it just in case.
All right, fish.
Okay, bye.
Break. How you say it? Break a leg.
Done.
Thank you, Kara, for having me today. It's an absolute blessing to be here with all of you amazing women, to be in a space filled with women of strength, culture, soul, and heart. I wasn't born in the Caribbean, but I'm married into its fire, its warmth, and its rhythm. My husband is Trinidadian. I met him when I was just 17 years old, and through him, it's been a while. And through him, I've come to understand the richness of this region from a really young age. And not just through food, soca, and carnival, but through its women. Women like you, who carry the weight of families, communities, and sometimes the entire world, and still show up with grace and power. And let me tell you, Caribbean women are a different kind of powerful. It's giving matriarchs across the board. This is not a part of my speech, but the first time my husband took me to Trinidad, I met his grandmother, who was in her mid-70s. And my first time meeting her, she was coming out of the backyard, just dragging a tree branch. And just like threw it down and just hugged me. And I felt like I was a part of the family so quickly. And that's one thing that I've always felt with the Trinidadian culture is I've always been welcomed. I've always felt like a part of the family. So my name is Arima Pervez. I'm 37 years old. I'm a mom of 4, an entrepreneur, a wife, a full-time content creator. And back in the day, I was quite the hairdresser. My family is originally from Pakistan. I've lived many lives in one body, as many of us have. And through it all, I've learned that while we can evolve, expand, and succeed, it's possible to feel like we're losing pieces of ourselves along the way. And nothing has ever made me feel like I'm losing myself faster than being a mom of 4. I want to talk about a part of motherhood that doesn't get posted on Instagram. The internal unraveling that begins the moment your life is no longer your own. The quiet grief of watching your old self slip away while you're still trying to celebrate new life. Believe it or not, 4 kids in all, I was someone who was absolutely terrified of motherhood. I fought that change, and I didn't ease into it gracefully. I wrestled with it. After each baby, I kept trying to rush back to the Ariba before babies, the bounce back. And I felt that if I could just find my way back to her, I would feel whole again. And with each kid, it became harder and harder to find my way back. Did I panic? Absolutely. Because as soon as I started feeling like I was losing myself to motherhood, I got frumpy, unshowered, and a woman who has just completely started to neglect herself. And every day, that old version of me became harder and harder to hold on to. But then slowly, something unexpected started to happen. When I started letting her go, when I realized I don't need her anymore, when I stopped wrestling the change, when I realized that there is a new version of me to be discovered, I started to embrace the change. I'm still getting to know her. She's not perfect, and she has no desire to be. That realization isn't something that I just wrote down one day. It's the way that I live now. It's the truth that I carry. Motherhood didn't just stretch open my body, it stretched my identity, and it broke open parts of me that were hidden. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't feel like myself anymore. But I've learned that losing yourself in motherhood doesn't mean you've disappeared. It just means you're becoming somebody new. And it's not just motherhood that brings this shift. It's the pressure that we carry as women, mothers, wives, daughters, creators, providers. We are constantly navigating who we were, who we are, and who we think that we're supposed to be. It's frigging exhausting. Let's talk about how often we're running on empty, convincing ourselves it's just a part of being strong. My mom was always burned out. It's normal. Why do we put so many unrealistic expectations on ourselves, honestly? As empowered as we are, as limitless as we feel, we have limits. And we don't need to hit those limits and burn our souls to the ground to realize that. When we stepped into our roles outside of homemaking, outside of family, kids, and our social lives, we didn't trade responsibilities, we added to them. Our workload increased tenfold. Being a working mom didn't mean that everything at home disappeared. The laundry didn't go away, even if your partner helps. The mental load didn't vanish. We just started balancing our careers on top of it all. And what we're living through now is a constant tug of war between our maternal instincts and this new world of freedom. A freedom that allows us to not only keep up with men in the professional world, but to surpass them. And this duality is beautiful, but it's also exhausting. It's liberating and depleting all at once. Yes, I kicked your ass at work today, sir, but now I need to go home and breastfeed my baby. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I ran up a couple of times to breastfeed my baby in the car. But and here's the thing, there's no blueprint for this. We don't really have women that we can look back at and say, how did you handle it? Because our mothers, grandmothers, they didn't have the level of choice and the level of endless possibility that we have at our disposal when they were raising us. We really are the first generation figuring it out in real time. So let's start by being more honest with ourselves. As an immigrant child, I didn't grow up with the peace of mind of feeling provided for. I grew up feeling very vulnerable. There were years where me and my family lived in basements. Nobody would ever know that, seeing how far we've come in our lives now. I grew up feeling very vulnerable, knowing that I had to carry weight far beyond my years. I financially supported my parents since I was 14 years old. I helped them buy their first home in Canada when I was just 22. I learned to hustle, grind, and provide. I was a support system before I even knew what that meant. And I carried that pattern into my marriage. I retired my husband, my high school sweetheart, at 30. And still, the hardest part wasn't the workload. It was learning to let go of that identity, learning how to ask for help, learning how to allow someone else to care for me, learning how to ask someone to provide for me, to trust my willing and capable husband to do it. Because I never learned how to trust anybody growing up. I always had to do it myself. I watched my mom sacrifice herself for her husband and kids and wear it like a badge of honor. That was the example. That was the standard that I grew up normalizing. But I've learned that prioritizing yourself isn't selfish. It's how we stay whole. So when I say we carry a lot, I don't mean just physically or emotionally. I mean generationally. We are rewriting patterns, breaking cycles, learning how to be nurtured, not just being the ones doing all of the nurturing. And that takes a lot of healing. Just because we can do it all doesn't mean we have to. Let's sit with that for a moment. Just because we can do it all doesn't mean we have to. And the truth is, as empowered as we are, as limitless as we feel, we have limits. And we don't need to push ourselves to the edge to learn that. We don't need to burn out juggling it all. Somewhere along the line, I stopped asking, am I doing enough? Because I assure you, I am doing enough. The fact that I care means that I'm doing enough. And in that world, I learned how to allow my willing and capable husband to soften my day, to accept help, to be cared for, to be provided for, and to be nurtured. I'm learning to accept the treatment I so freely hand out, to let go of the pressure of being everything to everyone. And if I'm being honest, the more I slow down, the more I hear her, that inner voice I was telling you about earlier, that newer version of me, the one I'm still getting to know, she's more about alignment and less about hustle. She's less about proving and more about being. She's learning that living softly is not deprivation. So to every woman in this room who's navigating that in-between space, the one between who you used to be and who you're becoming, the one where you feel like you're giving to everyone, but forgetting yourself. I see you, I am you. You are not behind, you are not broken, you're becoming. And becoming takes time, it takes honesty, and it takes grace. So here's to letting go of the guilt, the pressure, and the need to do it all. Here's to making space for joy and for stillness and for you. Here's to receiving some of the goodness that we so freely give away. Here's to living a softer life that we deserve. And as you hold space for everyone's emotions, show up to work and show up to bedtime, raise babies and bar, let's give ourselves the grace to remember. Just because you can do it all doesn't mean you have to. Woo!